Today's episode of Long Distance Short dives into the exciting world of international gifting trends and the rise of human-to-human connections. Join Natasha K, Marketing Director at Gift Baskets Overseas, as she interviews Dmitriy Peregudov, Founder and Chief Gift Officer of Gift Baskets Overseas and Giftsenda. Together, the two are here to walk you through corporate gifting trends and tips, how to navigate cultural differences, and the power of building human connections with personal gifts. Stay tuned to listen to these insights from an international gifting expert.
So, hi Dmitry, it's been a while. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Natasha. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So recently we talked really a lot about the importance of human-to-human connections in business-to-business interactions. So could you please share what inspired you to explore this shift, in part for your Inc. articles, and how have you seen it impact businesses that have embraced this approach?
Sure. So over time, gifting has been used for business for ages, and certainly there has been a shift in understanding that behind the company, behind any business interaction, there's a lot of human connection, and that's really what drives the business decisions oftentimes. And the gifting part has been sort of lagging behind that understanding, and lately that's been changing to and that's something that we also were part of. In the past, we've seen direct mail, boxes that were sort of standardized to certain degree in a budget, and there wasn't a lot of thought given to the recipient and the human behind the company that receives the gift, opens that box. And the relationship that can be built, the opportunity to build a relationship through the gift, was something really missing in the process. And now that's something that we actually touching quite a bit of. The way we do it today, and that's certainly where the human-to-human shift happens. We're no longer looking at that as a B2B or B2C kind of gift. We're looking at that as a human-to-human gift, and regardless of what realm it is in a business context, personal context, and so on, it's still a human behind there. So that's really what we're going for.
Sounds really human and inspiring. So you mentioned that empathy and authenticity, storytelling are crucial in corporate marketing today. Can you share some practical examples of company that successfully implemented these elements and saw a measurable difference?
Of course. Well, on our Giftsenda side, this is the platform that we have that allows companies to automate gifting, but also keep it personal. Giftsenda has a number of clients with various use cases where we have a chance to send the gift, make it really easy as sending an email, and at the same time be able to connect that gift to a particular event, story, or a point in a sales funnel that the gift recipient is currently at. So if someone had enjoyed a sales meeting or an initial interaction learning about the product, that's a milestone to celebrate. That's something that happened. And while in the past that was followed by perhaps a dry email or some standardized workflow, today that can also be followed by a gift, and the one that contains something that the recipient would actually enjoy. And that is that speaks to something that perhaps was brought up during the sales call, where the salesperson might have learned something about the recipient, about their preferences, maybe the AI was part of that, where we've used some information from LinkedIn or some other criteria that let us believe that we know a little bit more about the recipient than we would have otherwise considered knowing. And so now, if you think about sending a gift, that's sort of like a bit more personal than just sending an email, and it's because it needs to consider something that the recipient will enjoy as a human being. And again, that is a situation where that milestone can be celebrated, and the gift attached to it makes it a lot more memorable. So next step, beyond that introduction to a product or a service, the next step is a lot more likely when that personal connection was built, and gift is one of the ways to do it. That's just an example. Of course, you can do that in a case of a webinar. For example, you have a webinar attendees, and you had a lot more generic situation where you haven't had a chance to learn a lot about the recipients as a whole. And that situation, maybe you do have a story connecting to that event, and then when you do send that, you echo back what was discussed in a webinar context, and then perhaps you're not going to be as detailed about personalizing the gift, but you would instead connect to the event itself, be that a webinar, a conference, or some other mass attended event. And then from there, hopefully you connect in a deep enough level between the event itself and the gift that followed. It creates a more memorable experience still, and then follows on to the next step.
This totally makes sense. This hooks emotions to the memory of a product or an event, and allows your recipient to associate the whatever you are talking about with some emotion, which makes it really memorable.
Exactly.
So as companies adapt to this approach, this more human to human than just business to business approach, what do you think some challenges are that they may face?
Well, one of the challenges that's fairly clear is a lack of information about the recipients, knowing them, learning what they like, figuring out what exactly the gift should look like, and in context of that, when is the best time to send it? So those are kind of questions that come up in that context, and our platform certainly is an answer to some of these. We've built tools that allow not only sending a gift from a wide array of choices, but allowing the recipient to actually take a leading role in selecting the gift. So in many ways, if you don't know the recipients very well, you don't have to send them a particular gift. You can send them a gift collection where they can choose a gift from selection that you've determined within your budget, and then they would select the gift that best matches their needs. Say they are a wine drinker, but you don't know that, or they don't drink alcohol, and you decide to send them a wine basket. That's not necessarily going to fly too well. So how do you make sure that they actually have a say in what they enjoy? So one of the ways is sending them a collection. Another way is sending them a gift that can be swapped for another gift. And lastly, if some people don't enjoy material gifts, but they want to make a donation instead. Donation gifts is something that's becoming quite trendy and popular lately. So one of the ways that a customer can send a gift and then swap it out to a donation on their name to their favorite charity, that's certainly an option as well. So those are just a couple of ways we make the recipients matter, and actually have a say in what gift they're going to be getting.
This certainly makes sense. And for international businesses, cultural nuances and differences in cultural perception of gifts may also be a challenge. So let's discuss the importance of understanding these cultural nuances in corporate gifting. Can you share a specific example where maybe a lack of cultural awareness led to a gifting mishap?
Sure. It is a tough challenge in a way, because we often service a Western customer, someone sending gifts from the US, Canada, Western Europe, Australia, and so on. And sometimes these gifts come outside of Western realm, and they be sent to Asia or Eastern Europe and other locations in the world. So cultural contexts are certainly very important. In one way, we need to satisfy the taste of the sender. On another way, we need to make sure that whatever sender actually ends up picking isn't offensive to the recipient, or somehow does not send a wrong message. So there's a lot to say on this. In many cultures, when one's sending a gift or a basket, a certain color scheme may matter a lot. And the example of that comes to mind, a typical corporate gift that Western sender typically selects would be a very strict looking box or a basket that is not super colorful, may have one or two colors, maybe a bow at most, but certainly wouldn't have a lot of crazy color and arrangement. It wouldn't be multicolored, so to speak. There are some occasions where it would be appropriate, but generally on a corporate setting, and if it's a holiday gift for corporate setting, or if it's a gift as an appreciation to some customer, you would expect that sort of gift being a lot more in a strict color scheme. But then if you send that to Latin America, that Latin Americans typically expect a gift that will be very colorful, and certainly not strict looking black box, which typically would be a selection of a Western consumer in similar setting. I'm just exaggerating, but in general, it would be a strict color scheme versus a very, very wild and crazy colors on a Latin American side, in Caribbean for that matter. But then, in Asia, then perhaps we should think about examples of a New Year celebration where a certain color scheme of red and gold is respected, while some other colors aren't so much, and yet colors like brown may be not the ideal color. Then, thinking of flowers, typical example, take Eastern Europe. In many countries of Eastern Europe, take Ukraine, Serbia, Russia, for that matter. Typically you would not send even number flowers, because even number flowers are sent for funeral or sympathy arrangement, right? So you have to kind of know those things. Then in India, perhaps it's more typical to send cakes that are eggless, because there's a number of people that do not eat products with animal protein. So then to make a cake a lot more universal gift, you have to think of the cakes that have no eggs. And there are, of course, things like alcohol in Muslim countries that is typically frowned upon amongst Muslims. You don't necessarily want to send to a Jewish recipient something that isn't kosher if you don't know how religious they are. So there's kosher laws, there's halal laws to consider in the Muslim world. So a lot of that is part of the gift selection that we try to educate our customers about, and both on gift baskets overseas side and the Giftsenda side of the business. And those examples are just a few that come to mind.
Thank you. So you highlight how personalized and thoughtful gifts can strengthen international business relationships. So let's summarize. What are some key factors that companies should consider when choosing a gift for a partner or a customer from different cultural background?
Sure. Well, I think general knowledge about the culture is helpful. Like the ideas I mentioned. Uh, Typically, it's pretty easy to find that information. We are always ready to share, and we have a number of podcasts such as this one, as well as blogs. Yeah, the blog .giftbasketsources.com, and as well as resources online that we make available. Our catalogs are also fine-tuned with that in mind. So if you order from us, you are not very likely to send anything super offensive, because we do mind these culture aspects in our company and catalogs. The other parts is the personalization. Knowing more about the recipient, understanding their needs, understanding their preferences, those things will come quite handy in that context. If you learned personal preferences such as wine drinking, or love for sports such as golf, or knowing that the person enjoys theater, for example, those things can help you selecting a gift, or requesting a custom gift on to get that sent to someone, and really be memorable in that event. Not only that you're going to select from a pre-selected items in our catalog, you would also potentially, knowing what the recipient would enjoy, you can really hit a bullseye with your gift, and hopefully the gift will be something that will not only attach the emotion, but will build a long-lasting memory. And the idea isn't only to close a deal or to thank someone for a purchase or past event, but also sometimes is to build a relationship into the next event, and really to understand the customer as a human, as we talked. It's age to age thing, and then take it forward. How do you learn? How do you keep learning about each other? How do you take that to the next level, where any issue that ever happens is not going to be an issue, because you have that relationship built a priori, right? So that if you have that, the issues that happen, they just little checkbox to solve. When trust exists in the relationship, that comes a long, long way.
I think you already answered my next question, which would be how the business can stay informed and up to date about the ever-evolving cultural norms and preferences in corporate gifting. So let me summarize, and let's see if I'm getting this right. So for sure, one needs to study the cultural background of their partner or a customer, or even an employee in case of international team working across borders together. It really is important to also know personal restrictions and preferences of the recipient, and proactively learning about that, reading and exploring the changing environment in terms of cultural norms. In our time, I think it is changing quite fluently. So anything else you would like to add to that?
Well, sometimes it's hard to know, right? Like if you don't know the person too well, or if you're sending it to a very large list of people you don't really know yet. So there are cases where that sort of the information is just not available yet. But being open to learning that, and being open to exploring those avenues. Sometimes sending a generic gift to a large list is also fine. There are certain generic gifts that we have in the catalog that will satisfy a lot of people, especially if they can swap them in case if you don't exactly get it right. So again, sort of playing between really customized a gift that you can build a lot of your own AI around, and your own thought process is going to be very clear. You know exactly what you want to get. That's almost like you're sending a gift to someone you really know well, a friend or a relative. That sort of level. That's sort of one angle of that, and we serve to that, and custom gifts make it happen as well if something isn't available yet. But then the other part of it is generic gifts. Say Apple AirPods, right? A lot of people like the quality of Apple product, and if you don't have an Apple product, you still use Apple AirPods to make calls, and it's a nice gift. Or maybe it's a smartwatch of some sort, or maybe it's some sort of item that is perhaps less specific, but again would be enjoyed, such as a quality cutlery, like a knife of some sort, right? That has something that then it makes its way into the kitchen of a recipient, and then whenever they use it, they hopefully remember you and remember that you had that conversation or that purchase that they made, right? So again, connecting, and of course you have to be aware of cultural context. Again, as Natasha mentioned, that's super important. That you mentioned there to talk about the cultures where knife perhaps is not the best gift, culturally not always appropriate. So I would say just two of those things is a generic gift to people that you don't really know, and allowing them to swap it when that's not right. Or if you really know what you're doing, you know about the person, you know what they enjoy, you send them something you really sure they would enjoy. And those are two angles we kind of try to cover here with our platform.
Thank you. So let's talk about the emerging trends in corporate gifting. What you can see now with all your years of experience in this industry, which trend would you think will have the most significant impact on corporate gifting in the next few years?
So, one of the trends, as we know in general, with globalized commerce, is how to get it done quickly, right? Sometimes people want the gift delivered the next day or the same day sometimes, or at least within a couple of days, which is what gift baskets overseas and Giftsenda can do in most countries. That's one of the trends we certainly serve and keep excelling on. And one of the initiatives we have in the company today is a same-day delivery initiative that allows us to be quickest on the market to deliver in some countries where we have that service. And one of the things that comes to mind with that trend as well is the miles that the gift has to travel to go from the sender's warehouse to the location of the recipient. And our model has been actually quite modern even before it became fashionable, where we deliver locally within the country of delivery, although we do service global senders. So by sending a gift, say from the US to China, you symbolically sending it from the US to China, but actually the gift gets delivered locally within China by it comes from by our courier from our trusted warehouse. So the miles or kilometers, whatever you prefer, flown or driven are actually minimized, and also the time of delivery becomes super short, because instead of waiting for cross-border shipping and paying the fees to cross the border and pay the taxes on the import, and sometimes having that bill paid by the recipient, which is even more embarrassing. Now we don't have to deal with any of that. We deliver a gift locally from day one. As we created our model and built that model up, we always built with that in mind. How do we make it done quickly? How do we make it done reliably without having to cross borders, and having it done with a local supplier? Another trend I think that we're seeing lately is preference for small brands and preference for small local suppliers and providers. And we also are, always looking for more ways to make our catalogs as localized as possible, where local suppliers play a big role in both making our global gifts available locally, but also allowing them to participate in the gift creation and thereby making gift even more culturally appropriate for that country where we offer that gift for delivery. So that's another trend. I believe that preference for local suppliers, for local providers, instead of doing it all from one global warehouse internationally. Again, saving time, saving money for shipping. Our delivery fees are very moderate, somewhere between $12 and $25 flat. And I think that's because we can do it locally, and we can certainly make it quick. So those are main trends. Other ones that we're looking at are eco-friendly packaging, and we certainly have a strong preference for that with our suppliers. We try to, again, by minimizing miles flown, we also don't need to package it as crazily. For cross-border, sometimes there are a lot more strict guidelines for packaging, and for local, we can sometimes deliver within a particular city without having to pack into gazillion of boxes and putting a lot of plastic wrap in it, and yet making it still quickly and responsibly available to the recipient the same day sometimes. So those are the things, again, the trends that I wanted to mention. Again, it's the speed of delivery, being local. It's preference for local suppliers, and of course the eco-friendly packaging.
Sustainability and eco-friendliness of the products that people send or have delivered to their recipients for sure are not just emergent, just very fast developing trend. I would also would like you to speak a little bit about the convenience and availability of the service for the customer, which is also a huge trend these days. What about the app?
Oh, sure. That's a good question. Well, we definitely want to be at the fingertips of our senders, not only the business senders, but also the consumers or business senders that just want to send a one-off gift, for example. And oftentimes they would ask the more modern question: is there an app for it, right? And the good answer is yes. Now there is, and Gift Overseas had recently launched its first mobile app with a lot of crazy nuts and bolts included. You get to see all the order history from the website as well there, and you can, if you prefer the app, you can do the business there and then switch to the website if ever needed. And in general, it's just super quick and easy to do it on both Android and Apple devices. You can also get the customer service through the app, follow up on the order tracking through the app, and do all the other things you'd want to do right at your fingertips. Potentially, you also have a lot of AI functionality included as part of that, where the greeting card generation, for example, is done with AI, as well as gift recommendations potentially would be AI driven. It's already part of the website offerings in My Account, but on the app side, it will become available in across the catalog display pages as well. So stay tuned for those updates. But meanwhile, it's time to check out the app and actually download it, and let us know how we're doing.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. And thanks for having me.
This has been another episode of Long Distance Short, your podcast for tips, tricks, and real-life stories of how to make the most of any long-distance relationship. If you want to learn more about a corporate gift campaign with giftbasketsoverseas.com, you can email the team at corporate@giftbasketsoverseas.com. Call toll-free for the US and Canada at 1-888-673-2822, or request a call by going directly to the website www.giftbasketsoverseas.com.